Hey, how you doing? This is Greg, and I'm going to show you right now a quick animation I did here, and I'm going to see if we can go through how we got it. So let's just play this right here. Now I'm in Flash. I think now it's known as Animate now, so this is the timeline here, so I'm just going to play this real quick.
Oh, it seems like a good day for an exercise. Oh yeah, I'm feeling the burn.
Okay, so I guess you can see how our animation works here, and we got the guy talking and everything. So I'm gonna go through how we were able to do this. See our character here, he's on the beach, he's talking and whatnot. Got a nice scene transition, you know what I mean? Okay, so now I think what we're going to do here is, let me just show you all the applications that were involved. I used Flash, Adobe Illustrator, Photoshop, and I used Synfig down here. So yeah, so let me show you how all these programs here combine to make this animation, plus a few other applications I used. But nevertheless, let's get into it. Okay, so that's that. All right. So first off, we have to have our sketch, right? So what I did was I made a sketch in my sketchbook, and I uploaded that sketch online. And for you guys who are wondering how I did that, I have a cloud service, and it's known as OneDrive, as you can see on my screen right here. So here's my character in OneDrive. Alrighty then, so see the character right here. This is my original sketch. As you can see, according to our animation, that's pretty much the same character. Only thing, he has color on him and he's fully illustrated. Perfect. So yeah, so we got that character in our OneDrive, and from here, all I did was I took a screenshot, and how you do that is Command Shift and 4, and see that little target thing right there. I could just go ahead and screenshot that and take a nice little picture of it, or I could just go ahead and download it from the internet and it would be like the same thing. But I think the screenshot is better, and screenshots are definitely important. So from here, what I want to do is I want to go into my Illustrator. I already opened Illustrator here. So as you can see, the only difference here is that I turned my character the right way. Like when I screenshot the character, it was this way. So I rotated him into the proper position with Illustrator. So I'll just get into Illustrator real quick. To the far left, you can see the tools, and I like to use the this is the selection tool. There's the direct selection tool over here. This is the magic one. Well, I don't use that too much. There's the pen tool, very important tool that I use. I like to use the I like to use the eyedropper tool, the rectangle tool, the hand tool, and the zoom tool. Now this is an older Illustrator. Of course, this Illustrator, what Illustrator is this? Hold on, let me tell you right now. hold on one second. This is Illustrator CS3, so that's an older version. But yeah, it pretty much does the same thing. So as you can see further down, this is the fill color. This is the color that my character will be filled with, and this is the stroke. This is the line around such character. So let me give you an example here. So let's say I use the pen tool and make a square, a rectangle. So as you can see, rectangle, see the white inside, which is the fill, and the strokes outside is the line outside of the fill. Okay, so I get rid of that. So let's just do a quick illustration here. But I really don't want the fill. So a quick way to get rid of the fill is to just come over here where it says none. As you can see, a little white box there with a red arrow in there. So I just take that off so I can see what I'm doing while I illustrate this thing. So I'm on the pen tool. So as soon as I clicked onto the screen, you see this little blue dot. It's kind of small, but if you can see it, that's cool. If not, okay. So as you can see, this little blue dot, I just clicked here. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a line. So I'm going to click over here. You see where I clicked? And I didn't let go of the mouse. So as you can see, as I drag, you see some anchor points come out. And you see the line bend a bit. I don't know if you can see it. So the result of that is, as you can see, the line is a little bit curved. And I can get like a curvish type shape. So I can continue to make other lines. I can click here, hold, and curve the line again, as you can see. And I'm not trying to make this perfect because, quick little secret, I kind of did this already, but that's okay. And it's just, as you can see, I made another line. So I'm just going to click right here again so I can get rid of one of the anchor points. And then I'm just going to click over here, hold, drag out the line, and make some more lines. As you can see, I'm just clicking, holding, dragging, and making a curved line. And then I click back into the dot to take off one of the anchor points so I can continue doing my thing. Perfect. And let's say I didn't click back over here and take off the anchor point, then it just kind of go crazy. So to have more control, I want to click over here, take off one of the anchor points so I can do my thing the way I want to do it. Okay, great. So as you can see, there's an outline to the face. Now we can select this by selecting our select tool and selecting this, and we can fill this in by putting back in our fill over here, our color. But let's say we want to put another color on there. As you can see over here, we have our colors, and we can put whatever kind of color we want, but we're not even going to worry about that because we kind of did this already. So let's just go to our hand tool over here. Our hand tool is, so what you're going to do here, just like how you can use the wheel of the mouse to go up and down, you can use this to kind of do the same thing, but anyhow you want it. You can use the hand tool to go up. So what I did is I clicked and hold onto the hand tool, and I can move up, down, and side. So as you can see, we did our illustration already, fully illustrated. And I also did a picture of him from the side. So I have a side illustration already. So we have two illustrations done in Illustrator already. And the thing about Illustrator is that not only that it helps you provide the character with color and all that other good stuff, but it's also when you finish illustrating, it's also easy or to work in Photoshop with this. So how do I get my character from Illustrator to Photoshop? Okay, let's just do that really quickly. So here I have Photoshop open, and this is I think one of the newest versions of Photoshop. So as you can see, when we look at Photoshop, it's from the same company, Adobe Photoshop and Adobe Illustrator. As you can see, the the tools are at the left, and they kind of look a little similar to the Illustrator tools over here. As you can see, here's the Move tool, the rectangular marquee tool, the polygonal lasso tool, which is a very important tool that I like to use, Magic Wand tool. There's the eyedropper tool, another important tool. There's the paint bucket tool, which is a very important tool as well. There's the hand tool, and there's this zoom tool. So I can zoom into my project, and I can also use the hand tool. Okay, so let's just over to the right real quick, you can see our layers over here. You can kind of see layers over here. This is where our layers is, and you can see the history tool over here. So let's quickly get our illustration into Photoshop. And since these companies are kind of the same, we can just kind of select all of this and just drag it over into Photoshop. Really easy. So I'm going to be on my selection tool. I'm going to click and hold out a little bit outside of the image, and I'm going to select all the image just like that. You see that box right there? Now I'm going to select it. See, all the images selected, and I'm going to drag it, and I'm going to bring it over into Photoshop. Now, as you can see, my image is in Photoshop. Perfect. Now, it's asking me if I want to place my image. And this is if I'm happy the way it looks, or if I want to size it some more. Hold on a second. So as you can see, there's these size bars right here where I can just shrink it a little bit, or do this or whatever, or make it like that. You know what I mean? So I don't want to do any of that. So I just want to have the character like this, the way that I have it. So as you can see, these bars up here help shrink, and so now I'm ready to place. Now if I'm happy with the way it looks, I can just put place. Now there's a bunch of rulers and lines across the page. Just hit Command H, and it gets rid of that. And that was, I think it was I don't even know what it was, but nevertheless, so we got rid of that. And now what we want to do in animation, how animation works is we want to separate certain parts of the image that is going to be moving. So let's say this guy's hand is going to be moving. We want to separate it from the body so we have control over the hand, and it doesn't affect the body as it moves. And you'll pretty much understand what I'm talking about when we get over into our animation software to do this. So basically, for example, if his foot is moving, you want to separate his foot. So this guy, he's supposed to be crouching. So we're going to separate his arms, and then we're going to separate his foot. So let's start with his arms. So how am I going to do all this stuff in Photoshop? Okay, great. So for one, when you bring over a image from Illustrator, it will be a vector smart image. And we can look over in our layers over here real quickly. And as you can see, we have our vector smart image over here. And yeah, so whenever it's in this state, you can't really affect changes to it, and we want to cut this thing up, so we want to be able to affect changes to it. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go to layer, and we're going to rasterize the layer, and it's a smart object, so we're going to rasterize smart object. So we went to layer, rasterize smart object, boom. Now we can affect changes to our layer. So let's start with cutting the hand. So let's do that. So we're going to start with the polygonal lasso tool. So it kind of works the same as the pen tool, where you can make lines, but the only difference is you can't bend the line. And there's a selection tool, so what I'm doing is kind of selecting around the hand, just like that. See, click one line, then make another line, click, and then make another line, click, and then make another line, click, and then make another line, and then I go all the way to close off the circle. And as you can see, there's a selection right there. I like to just select a little bit more into his shirt. It's just me. Okay, so we have our selection here. So now what do we want to do? We want to separate this from the body so that when it comes to animating it, it works. We can do that and it won't affect the body. So what we want to do is we want to press Command X to cut this from the body. So we're going to press, but before I do that, what I like to do is I like to duplicate this image, and by doing that, just in case I don't like what I did, I can just go back to my duplicated image and start again. So as you can see, this right here, I don't know, now there's this create new layer. So we're just going to click, hold, drag that, and bring it to create a new layer, and it will create a duplicate of that. Perfect. Perfect, perfect, perfect. And this is also good, like when I cut this hand out, which is Command X, and then I'm going to put in its own layer with Command V. So now it's in its own layer. So now that we have a duplicate under here, we can kind of match it up and put it back right in the same place. So what I did, it's a little bit off, but hey, you pretty much get the idea. Sometimes it's annoying to navigate, but you pretty much get the idea. Okay, so now it's dead on. So now we got our arm in. So pretty much, boom, boom. As you can see, we have the guy's arm in there, right? Perfect. So obviously we're gonna do it for his other arm. We're gonna do the same thing for his leg and his other leg. So I pretty much did this already, so I'm going to show you what we have so that you can see how we did this. So I'm just going to go over to another file, and we did his arms. We select around, see there his arms. There's his other arm. There's his leg. Wait, and I also did a piece out there, so there's his leg, as you can see. And here's his other leg, as you can see, there's the other leg. And the most important thing is his torso and his head. So pretty much we have the pieces cut up to make up our whole image. So now what do we want to do once we have all those pieces cut up? We want to save them, and usually I like to save these pieces in the documents. So let's go ahead, and here's our arm first. what we're going to do is at our top menu, we have File here. You go to File, Save As, and try to save this as something that you can remember, like the file, and then put like what it is you're saving, maybe like ARM, and then put it over in your documents over here and just press, and make sure that you want to save this as a PNG file, right? Great. So you're going to do this. Yeah, so you're going to do a file, save as, whatever, in your documents, and just make sure it's a ping file. See PNG right here? You're going to make it a ping file and just save it in your documents. Okay, perfect. So we're going to do that for all the pieces in Photoshop. The leg, the arms, the torso, and the head. Okay, so now that we have all our pieces that we saved to our documents, of our character, so what are we going to do now? We have the piece of the character ready to be animated. What are we going to do? Okay, quick hint. Okay, we're going to bring them into this software, Synfig Studios. This is a kind of cool software that is you can get online. It's an animating software, and you can just go to the website if you want. I'll just pull that up real quick, and it's synfig.org, right? And you can go there, and I'll just show you their website real quick. And this is their website real quick. You can download the software. You can say how much you want to pay for it, or if you want it for free, you can also download it for free, and you can also donate to them, I guess. And yeah, so I downloaded this Synfig, and I have it here on my computer. So I'll just bring it up right now. So this is Synfig Studios here. As you can see, this is the stage over here, and on top here are some shortcut icons. This is like if you want to create a new document. As you can see, open an existing document, and this is if you want to save the file you're working on right now. And this is save as, like if you want to name the thing, the file that you're working on. And this is to undo a previous action, redo a previous action. This is to show the rendering settings box, which is very important, the shortcut here. And you can also change the stage size, which I'm going to do right now. I like to use 800 by 600. Oh, wait. No. Okay. Forget that. Okay, so what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to, as you can see, and also we have here the toggle handles. Very important tool as well. This other stuff here, I don't know what these are, but nevertheless. So we're going to right click on the stage, and if we go to File, you'll also see the shortcuts that you can access as well, and you can go to. But what I really want to do here is I want to go to Canvas. I want to go to my properties, and I just want to change the width of the image. I'm going to say 800 by 800 width and 600 height, because that's what I'm working with. Okay, so And another thing, over to our right side, you can see like a little blank space here with some grayed out lettering and some grayed out icons. This is our layers palette. Anything that we import into Synfig will show up here, which I'm going to show you in a minute. So we're going to right click on the stage again. We're going to go to File. We're going to import something into our thing over here. And I just want to show you that real quickly. Okay. So we're going to import our hand right here. Okay. So as you can see, this image that we imported here, we went to, we right click, we went to File, Import, and we searched through our stuff to get this. So what we're going to do now, as you can see, once this image hits our stage, we can look over to the right and you can see it here in our layers panel, right? So as you can see, this image is super big. And one way to maneuver the views on this is to use your mouse wheel, and you can move the view up and you can move the view down, as you can see as I'm moving my mouse wheel. And another way is that you can right click and you can go to views and you can go to zoom in or zoom out. But nevertheless, what I want to do is, the image is really big for the stage. So what I want to do is I want to shrink my image a little bit so that it can match the stage size, because right now the image is just very big. So as soon as you see that I clicked on the image folder, and I can also click on the image to do this as well, you'll see a bunch of colorful rectangle with a bunch of colorful circles, right? So we'll just go into what the brown circle does. This circle increases or decreases the size of our image, which is what we want to do. And this circle moves the image. But we didn't want to do that, so we're just going to go undo that real quickly. And of course, undo is right there, up in that shortcuts corner over there. And now we're going to shrink the image so it fits the stage size. So what we're going to do is we're going to click and hold this brown circle and just kind of drag the mouse down a bit. You can see what we're doing. Okay, we're right there. Oh, a little bit too. Okay, perfect. So as you can see, we're able to shrink the hand down and we're able to get the correct size of the image. And so as you can see, we imported our first hand, and I like to group my layers. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back over here into the layers panel. I'm going to right click and I'm going to go to group layer. And you could also do that by hitting this button here, this group button layer here, right here. But of course, I already so the next move is to import the rest of the body, because of course, we're not just a hand over here, right? So we want to import the other hand, the legs and the body and the head. We want to import everything that we save. So when we do that, it's going to look like this. See, I already did all of that already, so you can see all of that is done. So now it is time to make these pieces move, right? So we'll start with the hand first. And as you can see, all the pieces are in. So as I check off this part, and you can check this part off to like hide the folder of the particular image that is being dealt with. So this is the left arm, and if we click on that, you can show it again, and as you can see what I'm doing, and you can see all the so as you can see all the pieces of this character that I'm hiding and showing, right? Okay, so what we want to do here is we want to start animating, right? So we're going to go here to this arm here. And as you can see, I clicked on this little arrow here to reveal what is inside the folder. So now that I've selected the image, I'm going to right click on this and I'm going to go to new layers and I'm going to go to distortions and I'm going to go to skeleton deformation. So as you can see now, the arm that we're working with has been deformed, right? And this is our first bone. It's with as you can see, a green circle with a line and a blue circle and a brown circle. This is our bone right here. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to this box that is in front of skeleton deformation and we're going to click on the check mark so we can check it off. So right now we've hid skeleton deformation and you can see the arm comes right back, okay? So we're going to create some bones for this hand so it can move. So we're going to move this up here and we're going to create some bones, right? So this is our first bone. So this is the parent bone, right? So any other bone that is created will follow the parent, right? Because that's how it works. The child follows the parent, right? Okay, great. So we're going to make another bone. So we're going to go ahead and create child bone. So there's our first child bone. And we're going to go ahead and create another child bone. There you have it. And as you can see, we can by using this brown circle here, we can move these bones. And let me show you what I mean with the child follows the parent. If I move this out, as you can see, all the child bones follow. And you can see this. Yeah. So you pretty much get what I'm talking about. Okay, great. So let me just finish it off. So there is our set of bones. Now what we want to do is we want to have the bones affect the area of the image, right? So let's go ahead. And we're going to go to the top over here where it says toggle width and handles. This black with a purple circle looking symbol, and we're going to click on it, right? So as you can see now, the purple circles are indicating the affected area. So obviously they need to be increased so it affects more of the image so that the bones will have an effect on the image. So we're increasing the area that the bones will affect. And there you have it. So now, when the bone is going to move, all these circles that are affecting the image are going to move the image with the bone. So now what do we want to do? Now we're going to show skeleton deformation. Oh wow, now the hand looks even more deformed. Not to worry. What we're going to do now is, as you can see, the purple circles, the purple circle areas are not the way we had them. So what we're going to do is we're going to click on each purple circle. We're going to right click on them and go to reset pose. And we are going to continue to do that, and hopefully until we get our image looking like this now. So as you can see, our image is now looking back the way it ought to look, the way how it originally looked. Okay, so the great part is now we have this bone here. We have it, we can animate it now. So, okay, so I'm going to show you now that we have our thing animated. We can animate it now. So as you can see, we're going to move this bone up here. And you can see the character's hand move with the bone. So as you can see, we got this nice animation here. So you can see our animation of our character moving his hands. So you can kind of see how the bones work in Synfig. Now, of course, we want to animate it, right? So if we do it like that, we're just moving the character's hand in another position. So this is what you want to do when you want to animate the character. You see this little green man right here? You want to click on it. And when you click on it, you see how it turns red? Now the computer knows that you're ready to animate. So let's just do a couple of undos and hopefully. All right, so now we're back to our original position now. Okay, so now let's click on this ready man right here, and we're gonna go out to frame 10. Now, one thing about animation is that you want to have a window of how long it's going to take for your action, for your image to move from part A to part B, right? So down here is the timeline. So we're going to go from 0 frames to 10 frames, and as you can see the frame count over here. So we moved 10 frames out. So in 10 frames, our character is going to lift his hand, just like this. So as you can see, so from frame 10 to frame 1, we get from there to here. So that is our animation right there. But of course we want him crouching. And of course I did all of this already. So I'll just go to that. This is whatever. So as you can see, I'm in my character now, and you can kind of see how I set up the bones. In my Synfig program. So we're just gonna go to the animation part, see the bones for each part of each image, each you can see I put bones, for each part. So we're just gonna look at the animation here. It just takes a little while. So as you can see, our character is crouching. And he goes back into position. Okay, clearly. And I also did one for the side profile of our character. So this is the side profile. He's just going to be walking straight. And as you can see, the animation here. So of course, this is just moving very slow, but that's okay. That's okay. That's okay. and that's him walking from one side to the next. So we have that animation as well as the crouching animation, and that will probably be all we're going to do in Synfig. Again, I'll just show you the animation. As you can see, as watching the animation, you can see the bones, how they are moving, like how they control the part of the image. And yeah, so that is Synfig right there. You can. And now, now that I have my animation completed, like all the animation put together, I want to export the animation. So what I'm going to do, okay, so quickly, I'm just going to show how to render this character out. So we have our animation already completed. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to right click on the stage, and then I'm going to go to render, and you'll see the render settings open up. And real quickly, I want to go to time. So the end time of our animation is 20 frames. So I want to make sure I put in the end time 20 frames, right? And as soon as you do that and click away, the duration will be like 21. So it'll start from frame 0 and go to frame 20. So that is our animation right there. And of course, we have the name over here. This is what it's going to name each file along with a number to create a sequence. And then I'm just going to hit render to get those sequences out. But I already did that, so I don't have to do that again. So when I hit that, it will render out my animation. Okay, back to our tutorial here. So so as I said, we rendered all these files already, and we have them available. So let's just get that out in Photoshop. So I'm going to open up all those files that I rendered in Synfig. But first, but before I do that, before I go to Photoshop, I'm going to go to Flash so we can check it out in Flash. So so what we're going to do is we rendered the files out, and we're going to go to Flash. We're going to play the files and see how it looks first. I already know it's not good already. There's some corrections that need to be made. But let's play it out in the animation and see how it looks first before we continue forward. So I'm just waiting for Flash to open up. And I think now Flash is Animate, Adobe Animate now. So I don't think it's Flash anymore, but this is an older version of This is Flash CS5. So I'm just waiting for that to open up. Okay, so we have our file open here. Let's go to ActionScript 2.0 and let's just right click on the stage, document properties. Let's just change these properties right here, 800 by 600. Press OK. Then, so let's go to our, so one thing what we're going to do is we're going to, in Flash, we're going to go to File, we're going to Import to Stage. And we're going to go to where we had our okay, so we're gonna go to our very first the very beginning of our animation. As you can see, there's 20 files that we had that was rendered. So we're gonna go to the very first one and we're gonna press open. And once you press open, Flash is gonna realize that there's a sequence of images. So it's going to ask you if you want to import those sequences of images, and we're going to, of course, press yes. And you're just waiting for the images to import. Okay, great. So here's our character now, and it's in Flash, right? So here's the animation that we did in Synfig. So as you can see, it looks nice, but there's some things that are kind of off with this thing, especially as you can see over here. There's the character is missing the stroke over here, and this line just kind of appears out of nowhere. So we're going to go in and manually correct that throughout all of the images. So as we can see, the mistake, the mistake that's made in the image, we know what we have to do to correct it, to make it a smooth, nice looking animation. So now that we know that, we're going to put this, we're going to collapse this file into the into our computer tools right here, and we're going to bring out Photoshop. This is where we're going to edit each file so that we can correct that and make it a smooth looking animation. So what we're going to do here is we're going to go to open, right? And the great part about this is that I already did that. I already corrected it. So I'm just going to So I'm just going to open those pieces in Photoshop so you can see what I'm talking about. And and based off of our animation, he's doing the crouching position. He does it out to frame 10, right? And then he goes back into his original position. So from frame 1 to frame 11, and from frame 11 to frame 20 is pretty much the same thing as frame 1 to frame 11. I mean, from frame 11 to 21 is pretty much the same thing as from frame 1 to 10. So all we really have to do is correct 10 files and just kind of copy them in the opposite direction, so which will pretty much create the same animation. So what we're going to do, we're only going to correct from frame 1 to 11 because it's the same thing. So let's go all the way. As I said, I already did this, so I'm just going to show you how I did it real quickly. So right now I'm in Photoshop, and here our guy is in his crouching position. And I'm going to go over here to the layers panel in Photoshop here. And of course we have layer 1 here. We're going to hide that layer. As you can see, there's our little line there. And I'm going to hide layer 2. And as you can see, the stroke that I corrected is gone. So I'm just going to show you how I did this. So what I did is, as far as the line goes, I hid that by using the rectangular marquee tool. I mean the polygonal marquee tool in Photoshop. I could use the rectangular marquee tool as well, but the polygonal marquee tool. And I just made a selection around this this line here that's kind of in the middle of nowhere. And I selected around it just like how and as you can see the selection. And I grabbed my paint bucket tool, but before I did that, I went over to my eyedrop tool so I could get the color of the shirt. So once I get the color of the shirt, I can just grab my paint bucket tool and spread paint on it. So I'll just show you how that works. I made another layer here. Now I can just put paint over that, and that's the way how we hid that line. So that line won't show up in the animation. Okay? And then now there is we need to put a line over here. So what I did now is I went to my polygonal lasso tool again, and I just kind of selected around where that line needs to be. As you can see, that's how I use my polygonal lasso tool. And I'll just drop some paint in there the same way. But this time the stroke color is a little bit dark. Maybe a little bit grayish. Let's just put a little bit. And then we're just going to grab our paint bucket tool again. And there we go. And that's to correct this part right here. So, in essence, that's pretty much what I did. As you can see, the line has come back, and and that's how I corrected the whole of this thing, every single part. And now that this has been corrected and we see how it's corrected, we will go back and we will put in the corrected version into Flash. But there's one thing about this animation. When we play the animation, there's going to be a part where he is going to not only be exercising, but also talking as well. So with that, what we want to do is we want to his head, we're gonna have to separate his head from his body so it doesn't get in the way, because we're gonna have to place another head onto his body and have that head talk. I know this is making absolutely no sense, but that's okay. So it will probably make more sense when we go into creating the lip sync for our character. Okay? So now what we want to do is, not only do we want to create a sequence of files with him crouching, but we want to create a sequence of files with him crouching with no head. And I'll just show you how we're going to select around that on the head. It's going to be the same thing like we did. So of course we're going to go to each file here, and we're going to select around this head right here with the polygonal lasso tool. And we're going to just merge visible, because we're going to merge this this layer, and all we did here is we went here, merge visible, and now this is one layer. And we're going to just delete this head here, because, you know, we're going to make files without the head. Boom. So now, as we deleted the head, we want to build back a little bit of his shoulders here. So let's just do that real quickly. So, as you can see, we got rid of the head and we built up the shoulders a little bit. So we're going to do that for each frame, for each file, so that we can have a sequence of these files where he has no head, because we're going to place a head onto his body. Okay, now that that is done, we are let's check it out. Let's check out what we're talking about in Flash. So now that we've kind of showed you how we've corrected the sequence of files, let's just kind of showcase that in our Flash document. So I have already created the document where this has been corrected, so I'm just going to open that up. All right now, so as we can see, I opened this file up. So let's go to him with the head now. So let's look into Flash here and let's see how it looks. So of course we corrected it. So we can see a nice smooth animation here going here. So we can see this animation looks nice, and we did an animation with him with no head. So we look at that and that looks nice too. Okay, great, perfect. This is perfect. Okay, so that's done. Now what we want to do is we want to create our lip sync part, right? So let's go back to Photoshop, right? So what we want to do here is we want to only deal with his head. We want to separate his head from the body, and we're going to have one file with his head, and we're going to make his head talk. So I think I have a file where I did this already as well. Let's see if I have that file here. Okay, so as far as our character lip syncing, as you can see, we created a file where his head is, as you can see, the character's head. We separated it from the body. You can just see his head. And now this is the next position where his mouth goes down a little bit, and you can see his mouth open a little bit. And as you can see from the third position, this is when his mouth opens the widest. So this is going to be our lip syncing tutorial. And simply what I did for this is I used the polygonal marquee tool. I selected around the jaw, just like this. And let me just duplicate this file before I continue. I'm just going to drag it down to here and duplicate the file. So I just duplicated just to, just for whatever. And what I'm going to do, I already selected around the jaw area. I'm going to move this down so his jaw moves while he talks, because that's how it works. Your jaw moves while you talk. So as you can see, his jaw has just moved down. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to create him a mouth real quick. I'm just kind of showing you how I got to the points that I did real quickly. So as you can see, I'm just using the polygonal lasso tool. And I actually created the mouth in Photoshop, but I'm in Illustrator, but I'm just kind of doing it in Photoshop right now real quickly just to show you how I did it. So so there's his mouth, his jaw moved down, right? So now what's left to do is fill in the blanks of this, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a layer below the guy's mouth, and I'm just going to get the polygonal lasso tool again, and I'm just going to fill in these blanks here, as you can see. and this is going to be his skin color, and this is a frame below. This is a layer below the head layer, and I'm just doing this very quickly. I use my eyedropper tool to get his skin color, and I'm going to use my paint bucket tool and just drop paint. And as you can see, just like that, we covered up everything, and it pretty much looks like there was no blank space to begin with. So now what I'm going to do now is I'm going to just fill in back the stroke here that had been cut out. So you kind of get an idea how I created my lip syncing. Just like this. See, and if I go to my history palette over here, there's the history palette right here, as you can see, and I go all the way back from the beginning. See, it looks like he just looked like he opened his mouth. See, just like that. Boom. So, see, now you can see how we created our lip sync here, just like that, right? So you pretty much get an idea how we got to these stages here. So that's the lip syncing part. So now we want the eye to blink, right? So what we're going to do now is let's focus in on this eye right here. And we're going to use the polygonal lasso tool in Photoshop, and we're going to select around the eye. And we're going to separate it from the head. We're going to copy V. So now we just have this eye over here, as you can see. So we just have the character's eye, and we're going to save it. See, as you can see, the character's eye right there. Perfect. And we'll save it as whatever. And of course, we did all of this already, and we're going to move on. Okay. All right. So now that we have a few things, we have our character animation with our character with him crouching. See, we have him crouching right there, and we went through how to do this, and we have him crouching with no head attached as well. So we have that animation in a separate project. We have an animation of him walking. We have that animation done, as you can see. We did that in Synfig, and that came out fine. So we have that animation finished in Flash. So we have that project, as you can see. And we also have our materials where we have our character eye separated from his head, and we have each stage of our character's lip sync. So I'm going to go to that project right now. So wait, here we are. So as you can see, we did each stage of our character as he talks, and we kind of set them up in a way for our lip syncing, right? And I'm just going to go into the project, into how I do my lip syncing. I use a special Flash plugin, and it's from Azure Productions, and you can go on their website, and of course you'll pretty much figure out how I did this by just watching the tutorials of Azure Production. So I'm just gonna show you the website so you can see what I'm talking about. So this is Azure Productions, and you want to download Smart Mouth, and you can download it and give it a free trial. And if you want to purchase it, there's the purchase information. And also, if you want to learn how to use SmartMouth, there's support here, and you can watch some video demos. Of course, it's loading up, and you can watch some demos on how SmartMouth in action. So we're not necessarily going to go through that. So that is Azure Productions, and you'll see how they set this part up here, and this will come in handy later. So after this is where the character will blink his eye. See, he blinks his eye right there. See that? Perfect. So how I did this was, okay, so as you can see, this is simply the character's head right here that I imported. And as I see, and the layer that's on top of this over here is a mask covering his eye, right? And simply how I created the mask was, I'll just show you right now in this. I'll just show you real quickly how I created the mask, and this is a blank keyframe. All I did was I picked the color from the character's face, and I went to my rectangle tool, and I went to the frame above the face, the keyframe above the face, and I just covered it. Of course, I'm not doing it properly like the way how I did it, but as you can see how that was done. So this is the mask, and this is and the other layer is our eye that we separated from the head, which means since we have this eye alone, we can scale it and shrink it to make the character look like he's blinking his eye. So that's how we make that. So now we have our character lip syncing and also blinking an eye. We have the project for that now. So now we have pretty much everything we need to create this animation. Perfect. So let's go. We're not going to go to the finished product yet. We're going to go to a project that I was working on that I just kind of want to, well, you know what, let's go to the, no, we'll just go to the project that I'm working on. Okay, so if you look at this project here that I have been working on here, and we play it.
So I'm on the phone with Grandma, right? And Grandma asked me like,
okay, great, perfect. So as you can see, we have our guy here, and we have a voice out here, and as as you can see, our character is not lip syncing to that voice, right? So we need him to lip sync to that voice, like right away, right? So this is what we want to do. We are going to first we're going to figure out where the voice begins, right? So we want to know where our character starts talking. So it's right here at frame 33, and we're just going to insert a keyframe into layer 9. So this is where we are going to have our character start talking. The way how we're going to do that is simply where we had our lip sync project, we're going to copy and paste the first stage with his head, with his mouth closed, onto this project right here where I'm selecting. So let's go to where this thing ends. Okay, at 109, no more talking. So this is where it will stop. So we're gonna paste our head right here. So let's go to our lip sync project now. Perfect. So as you can see, our character's head right there. So we're gonna copy this head, right click, and copy frames. Perfect. And then we're going to go back to our project here. We're going to go to layer 9, frame 33, and we're going to right click and we're going to hit paste. So as you can see in my Flash project, there's this big head kind of in the sky. So you know what we're going to do? We're going to size this head down. We're going to go to properties. And we're going to size this head down, right? So in Flash, as you can see, as I clicked this free transform tool over here, I'm in the tools bar right here. You can see some toggle bars where you can scale the character up or down. So let's just do that real quick. Boom. See, I'm scaling it down, but I kind of know the exact position and size for it, so I'm just going to enter it down here. As you can see, position and size, I can just enter in the numbers, so I'm just going to do that real quick. Okay. So as you can see, my head is short and it kind of fits right over the head right there. Again, okay, perfect. That looks fine to me. So I pretty much fit this head over my character and it fits perfectly. Well, maybe not that perfect, but this is just like a tutorial. So yeah, forgive me if it doesn't fit that perfectly. Okay, so now what we want to do is we have our stretch of where the voice goes on and ends, right? So what we want to do now is we're going to double click in this frame right here. Or better yet, no. What we're going to do right now is we're going to click on this frame and right click on the stage where this head is over our character. So we're going to right click and we're going to go to convert to symbol. And you can name this anything you want. So I'll just name it head of perfect, head of character. Boom. Right there. So we have our thing here, and we're going to double click on this. So when you double click on this, you'll notice there is a singular frame over here. What we're going to do is we're going to dump our lip syncing animation into this, and what will happen from there is that the character's mouth will go up and down throughout the duration of the frame. So let me show you what I'm talking about. So I'm going to go to our lip syncing right here. And this is our lip sync setup right here. So we're going to select all these frames by clicking here, holding the shift key and clicking to the end of the frames. And then we're going to right click into the selection. And then we're going to go to copy frames right there. And then we're going to go back to our project here where we have, where we're into this thing here. And as you can see, we're going to dump these frames into this timeline right here. So we're going to right click and we're going to paste these frames right in there. So I see you can see this big head all over again. Perfect. Great. So this blue arrow here will take us back to our scene. So now you can see the head is all big again. I should have did it the other way, but that's okay. So we're going to size this head again. Okay, right back to where we want to be. So as you can see the frame now, you see this big gray frame right here. And you can see our character's mouth moving up and down. Perfect, perfect. But as you can see, there's one part where he just kind of disappears. This is the part where his body is going to start exercising. So we didn't put that in yet. So what we're going to do is we're going to click and we're going to double click on this frame, which is the stretch of our characters talking. So we're going to double click on this frame right here to select everything. We're going to go to the top menu bar, commands, and we're going to go to lip sync with smart mouth. Perfect. Okay, so we're in our layer 9, where our character's lip syncing is, and layer 12 is where our character's voice is. So we're going to go tell smart mouth.
So I'm on the phone with grandma, right? And grandma asked me like,
Okay, great.
So I'm on the phone with grandma, right? And grandma asked me like,
as you can see, it's perfect, right? The only problem is where this guy kind of disappears. So now we're going to put in our crouching animation here. So let's go to that part where we have that animation. And as you can see, the character is still talking, right? So what we want to do is we want to have him crouching with we want to have him crouching with no head. So let's do that. Gonna go to the project where he's crouching with no head, and we're gonna copy these frames. Copy frames just like that. I'm gonna go back here and we're gonna put it into our animation clip. And there's another important plugin from Flash that you can get. I'll just pull up their website here. And this Flash extension is from ToonMonkey. And you want to get the new anime clip, this is an awesome Flash extension. So you can get this plugin again from toonmonkey.com /extensions.html. So you can definitely check that out. So yeah, so I'm going to use that. So I'm going to go up to commands, and as you can see, new anime clip right here from none other than ToonMonkey. So I'm going to click on that, and it's going to give me ask me to name the layer. I'll just put whatever. Oh wait, it's good to put letters. Don't put you know. I'm just putting whatever that comes to my mind. Literally. So as you can see, I just named it whatever, and we already copied the frames that we want. So we can, as you can see, we are brought to another clip that kind of looks similar to the last clip that we were brought to. So we're just gonna paste what we copied in that timeline, and boom, right there, as you can see, this is our character crouching with no head. Perfect, 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 perfect. Okay, great. So as you can see, there is one big animated clip of our character right there, as you can see. But of course, we don't want it all. We don't want all of this to be animated, obviously. We want to bring it to the part where we want it to. So we're going to go all the way to the beginning, because that's where this animation clip starts. And we're going to click on the very first frame. And we're going to click, hold, and we're going to, wait. We're going to click, hold, and we're going to drag it. Let's drag it right to where we want it. So we want it right here. Perfect. Want it right here, and wait, no, we want it right here, sorry, and we want it to have the right size. So what we want to do now is we want to lock the top layer right here so it doesn't interfere with me sizing this image. So let me just size this real quick. Perfect. So as you can see, I sized it. So as you can see, this thing detaches from the head, which is no good. So what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to make an individual keyframe for the head in each position and move it downward so that it can move down with the body. And I'll show you what I'm talking about. So we're going to go to insert keyframe right there. And of course, we realize that this thing moved down a little bit. We're going to go to insert keyframe again, and we're going to move the head just slightly down, ever so little bit. Okay. Can move the head down ever so slightly. Let's see if that works. See, as you can see, the head moves down a little bit. And we're going to go here, and we're going to do the same thing. I'm going to go here, and we're going to do the same thing as we did there. Move the head down ever so slightly. Needs to be moved down some more. You see how the head is following the body as it moves down, and makes sense, right? So now you pretty much see how we do this animation right here. So you kind of get an idea idea how we do our animation. So you know what? Let's go back to our finished product. And as for the background, you can simply import the background. Can go to let's say a blank like to the bottom layer, and just go to File, Import to Stage, and you can just get the background from your computer and just import it in, and there the background will be. And as for the character, where we have it, the crouching position, just when he's about to start crouching, you can just pick the first frame from that, go to copy, and just slap it onto our project there, and size it up, just slap it on there. You can just slap it on there and size it the way you want to size it, and you'll get this. So let's go to our end project right here. So now that you understand that the animation is just pretty much dumping frames into our project so that they can execute certain animations to make this thing come together. So let's just go through this. Okay, first there's a transition. Okay, I didn't really explain how to do that, so let me just quickly go through that. So I'll just do that real quickly. So it's nice to create a smooth transition for your animation. So what we're going to do is over here to the top right, we're going to zoom out a little bit. Okay, so we have that there. Perfect. And we're going to go to our top layer right here, and we're going to go to insert a keyframe. And we're going to go to our rectangle tool. We're going to make this rectangle black. Just like how I did that. See, I made it black. And we're just going to slap this over the image. So now there's a big black circle. Perfect. I'm going to right click on that, create symbol, and just save it whatever. I don't know. Okay? And then what we're going to do is create classic tween over here. Maybe bring it out over to this. Bring it out over there. Gonna click on this. And then we'll just go to styles, and we're gonna hit alpha. I'm gonna bring the, as you can see right here, we're gonna bring this alpha all the way down to 0. And there's our smooth transition. So that's how we make this transition here. As for the character blinking his eye, we have the material for that. So all we did is go to our lip sync, and we're going to go to the section where he blinks his eye. We're going to copy all of this. Well, we want to copy just these 2 frames over here. We're going to copy them, right? And then when we copy them, what are we going to do? We're going to go to our finished project here, make a new animation clip, and we know how to do that. We go to commands, new animate clip, just dump it inside here, and that's what this is right here. And scale it, size it properly, boom, we're done. And then this, you can hear some seagulls in the background that was imported. And now he says something different. Okay, and as for voices, we can get those into the program simply by downloading a voice app on our phone. I like to use Voice FX, and once I've created my voice for the character, I like to upload it to my cloud service. And then from there, I download the voice note to my computer and I import it into Flash by just going to File, Import, Import to Library. I'll search for it in the library, right click on that voice note, and then select a keyframe where I want it, right click outside the project and paste it into a blank keyframe. And that's how we get our voice. So as you can see, our character is lip syncing, and we already went through how to make our character lip sync, and we also went through how to get our character to do his exercise and lip sync at the same time. And as you can see, as he stops lip syncing and he continues to do his exercises, we know how to do that. And now he walks off the stage and we have the material for that. So we just dump that in. See the material right here. We can just dump that in. And what we did here, as you can see, it's going a different way. All you have to do is when you dump it in, let me dump it in, it will come out to a different way. All you have to do is just hold and drag this and you can flip it another way and he'll walk and put it to wherever direction and he'll walk another way, as you can see. But we don't want to do that. So you pretty much get how that works. And all we did was copy the character walking, dump him in an animation clip. There's an animation clip right here. Flip the character so he walks in the direction where we want him to walk. And as you can see, smooth transition, finish. So that is how we did our animation, and I hope you enjoyed this. Yeah.